So in this video here, we're going to do these handles, and they're kind of like got a funky shape to them. So let's make a cylinder. So they're easier to grip onto. They kind of make them curvy. Again, we'll do 12 on the divisions on the axis, and the radius, of course, is going to be like 0.25 or something very thin. That looks pretty good. It looks about right. I don't know about the height. The height, oh no, that's actually too thick. Let's go 0.2. The height, 1.2. That's probably okay. No, maybe a little bit bigger. 1.5. That's about right. Maybe a little bit thinner, but so instead of 0.2, 0.1, 0.18. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add divisions onto the height. Let's go with 3 to start off with. And then we can just take these faces right here and scale them in. And now we have this shape. Let's press 3, as you can see. Pretty much got that shape going on. And we're not going to get as fancy as this shape. I will add on like a little bracket down here. So down that little bracket, let's add another cylinder in here. And let me bevel this end. Or I'll just delete out the faces. And then let's go to face here. On face. There we go, face. Let's right click, go face. Go inside. We're going to select all these faces and press delete. Now when I smooth this out, it's not going to round over. When I press 3 here, it's not going to round over. But if I go to edge here, I can hold shift and click and drag in the center of my scale tool, and it'll bring that in a little bit, so then I can put on the other cylinder. It's going to be similar in size to this, and then I can put a ring on it. And see here. I'm going to add on an edge just to round this out. I can get very meticulous with this stuff, but you don't necessarily need to get as meticulous. Let's go to vertex. And then round this in. So you see it's rounded some now. Let's go to edge here. That kind of destroyed the curviness of this. Yeah, it's better. Okay, so let's make another cylinder. Make another one. Just hold down the J key and you can snap it to -90 in this case, and then 90 in the other case. It's fine. So I can remember what I did here. I don't have to look at my other cylinder. I can just type in the number. So I did a radius of 0.18, which is what I need. I did 12 here. The height's going to be much different. It's going to be like 0.2 or something, because this is a very short piece of metal that's on this little grip, little brace here. Keeps it from flying off into... let's go to this view right here. So we can turn on our wireframe unshaded again. Remember, it's the blue box with wide outlines, and we can hold down V and snap this. Clicking on the arrows, snap it to that vertex right there in the center, and then snap it up to that vertex in the center right there. You don't want to do it from the center of your tool, because that'll snap the whole thing over. Like if I move it right here, hold V, see, it moves the whole thing. I don't want to do that. So I do it with the arrows. Press 3. See, it rounds over too much. But what we can do is we can add on subdivisions on our caps. We'll just do 2 there. And we can add on subdivisions on our height. We can just do 2 or 3 there. And that will give me the ability to, if I select these edges by double clicking each one, press R, hold, I don't need to hold anything, I'm just going to drag this out. Now watch this, it'll be a lot sharper. See, it's a lot sharper now. And we can then object mode here, press Control 1 to hide everything, go to edge, double click this, press R, and we'll scale this out. We'll click this, and then we'll scale this out too. You can press Control 1 and bring everything back, and now you have that. And if it's a little bit too wide, okay, I can just scale it. I'm not going to worry about going into my inputs and getting it. There you go. All right, we got that part pretty easily done. You can see here that it does cut in. I'm not going to worry about getting that detail in, cutting into this. You can do all that. You can model anything that's physically possible, and some things that are not physically possible, you can model. But that's like a lot of work that I don't want to deal with, especially for the midterm and for newbies. So we'll add on maybe like a little nail or something over here, and then I'll add on the ring here. So to add on a ring, click on your torus. It might be on the standard shelf. If not, it's under the create menu under polygon primitives. You can find it there. I'll just move it over here. I think this actually goes in a different spot. Looks like it's pretty far down here. So torus, we don't need the subdivisions to be 20. We'll do 12 by 12. That's like a lot easier to look at. And then we will do section radius of 0.1. And we will do radius of 0.25. That's pretty close for just guessing. 0.1 is too big. 0.05. 0.03. That's how I just guessed at this stuff. I don't actually know the numbers. 0.17. Looks pretty close. And it needs to be rotated so it fits in line with the shaft. All right. And then I can take this over. I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to press Control G to group them. Center the pivot. That's under Modify. Center pivot. It should be on your custom shelf. You should have that custom shelf. I'll move this down. It's just might need to adjust the ring, exact parameters of the ring, so you know. The ring should technically be bigger. You can change the radius. Click on the radius and then, whoa, don't want to go that big. 0.19. And I can move this over and kind of get it locked into there. So it looks like it's part of the base. The base is too high. If you click on one of the objects that comprise the group of the base or the handle, you can click the up arrow on your keyboard, and it will select the group, and then you can move everything. So then you can bring this up. Then we can change this maybe 0.21 maybe. It's a little bit closer, I think. Because if we move this in, you can see it kind of goes into the side of that ring there. Sometimes you just have to kind of imagine that things are a little bit simpler than they are. And it's just too big because there's too much space here. So let's go back to 0.19. I think I'll leave it there. There's too much space between the shaft and the ring. There shouldn't be any really, technically. But we left some. Let's add on a little button on the end. Some sort of nail or something. I'll create a sphere for that. Why not? It'll be fun. I'm going to hold J. I'm going to click and drag it over to 90. And then I'll move it down here. We're going to change the radius, obviously. We'll also change the number of divisions to 12 by 12 is fine. Radius to 0.2. That's too big, probably. Yeah, it's too big. Let's do 0.1. And then I can snap it. Just come over here to your front view, and you can snap it into place. Holding on the V key, remember snap with your arrows. Just drag the cursor over the vertex. And then there you go. You have that shape. Now, I'm going to move it out. It's hiding from me. I'm going to take the face here. I'm going to delete these faces right here. Not half of them, but a little bit less. I'm going to go to object mode, and I'm going to press R and scale it. Flatter. And then just stick it on the end there. So if you're watching this and you're not a member of my class, and you're like, whoa, that's all you do for a nail? You don't actually make the whole nail? No, you don't actually make the whole thing. There's no need to see the parts you're not going to see. You're not going to make the parts that you don't see. Well, we have this grip here, and we have another grip. So we have a group, right? we can add these other parts to this group. So I'm going to select everything here and this. Press Control G to group it. Modify center pivot. It's on my custom shelf. I'm going to hold down, while I have the move tool turned on, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click and drag. And then move this over. Looks like it's up here. I don't think the ring's going to be big enough. We might need to use the other one here. I'm going to move this one. Oh, that did not. Okay, so hold Shift, click and drag. Go to this other group, and you'll see why I'm doing it. I'm going to the other group. Because we have to change the radius of the ring. We have to change the thickness of the ring so it fits onto the shaft here. And the reason it's important to be able to do this on the base that we use instead of the copy, the clone, is because I can go back into my inputs and change my radius here. You cannot do it any other way. If you try to change your radius on this copy, it's not going to work. There's no radius. There's no option. So like, oh, that's fine. I'll just scale it. I'll just scale it. Well, if you scale it, it doesn't quite give you what you need because the whole thing gets thicker. We don't want the whole thing to get thicker. We want its radius to change. So would I put its radius at 0.29? We'll go 0.23. I don't know if that's right. We'll see. It's a little bit small. Let's go 0.25. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. It looks pretty good. Because we don't necessarily want this to get thicker. Let's go up to the top of our group and then rotate it so it follows the angle of the shaft. Obviously, you can tell I'm not really worried about this object being a perfect match for the scythe in the image, we'd actually have to have a scythe and measure the angles and stuff and do it that way to get it to be accurate to what we see. But I'm liking it. I think the handles are a little bit small. We can always go to the group and scale them up. This will mess with our radius on our ring. Just be aware of that. And if you want to scale it down, it's not going to quite work that well. But just be aware. Again, we can go to our group here, scale it up. And then we'll bring this down a little bit. I'll get the nail to match up too, because the nail didn't quite go. All right, so that's it for the handles.